You know, one of the things that I try to do on this show is to never let people forget the absolute tyranny that took place in 2020 during the COVID era, because it seems like our lawmakers are not ever going to hold those accountable who deserve to be held accountable for all of that. And I know most people are back to living their normal lives. Like, oh, yeah, I kind of vaguely remember the days when the government forced me to stay home and wouldn't allow me to make a paycheck to feed my family and forced me to put a diaper on my face that they pretended worked, even though we all knew it didn't, all just to lead to pushing an experimental jab. I vaguely recall that. Yeah, can you tell I still have some animosity towards that? Yeah, I'm never forgiving them. So you may recall there were certain business owners during that time period who were like, yes, screw you. We're defying all of your unconstitutional orders. And they went through hell, a lot of them. And one of them is joining me today with some good news. I want to welcome to the show Ian Smith. He is a former New Jersey gym owner who was targeted by local officials for not following New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy's orders to close his gym. And Ian, welcome to the show. You just had a huge legal victory stemming from that battle.
Yes. Well, I am here to share some good news, and thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So I want to get to the good news, but I want you to first take me back to 2020 here. Okay, you were charged with what, like over 80 charges for violating these public health rules. And did police ever? I know you kept your gym open. Did police ever arrest anyone, like gym goers or you guys, or what? How did that play out?
All of the above. So the municipal citations spanned over 2 years. We got a whole bunch of them within the first couple of weeks of opening up. And then they sort of stopped for a little while, and then we got some more, and then we got some more. And those tickets are all municipal citations ranging from violation of a governor's orders to public nuisance, zoning violations, and a couple other sort of miscellaneous arbitrary citations that were sort of just thrown at us really to scare us into shutting down. And when that didn't work, Governor Murphy took those municipal charges as well as a health department shutdown order and went before a judge. In New Jersey, we have appointed judges, not elected. So he went in front of his judge and he asked for a court order to close our business. And then that's where a lot of the really tangible, very scary punishments came in. We were being fined $15,497.76 per day for every day that we were in operation. The state took upwards of $200,000 from our bank account. We had members arrested. We had one member arrested. My former co-partner and I were arrested. We had our doors forcibly locked by the sheriff's department. When we refused to comply with that, they came to lock the doors again, and we took them off the hinges and stayed inside for protest for over a month. And they arrested us. They held us in criminal and civil contempt of court. So there was a 5-year prison sentence hanging over our head at one point for violating this court order.
Wow. So this is just, it's making my blood boil all over again, just listening to you lay this out. So I have to ask you, as this was going on, because it was very curious to me to watch those of the, whether it be officers or health inspectors or whoever the hell was coming in and having to enforce this. It was interesting watching how many of them were doing, it was all wrong, but it was interesting to watch how many of them were doing it and begrudgingly, right? Saying like, look, I agree with you. I don't want to have to do this. I'm just following orders, which again is still chicken shit. But like, how many of them were like, I'm sorry, I have to do this? And how many of them were actually seemed to take pleasure in being this tyrannical nut?
Well, one of the big first stories of the gym was the first day that we reopened. And, we had this massive crowd of supporters, hundreds of people in the parking lot, hundreds of members, and there was a large police presence within the town. And the first video that we put out as an update was the captain of the Belmar Police Department sort of standing in front of the gym midway through the day and making this announcement that everybody thought that he was going to have something bad to say. And he actually, to replay it, he said, "You're all here in violation of a governor's orders." And the crowd sort of got very angry, and he dramatically sort of stuck his finger up and said, "On that note, everybody be safe and have a nice day." So there was a lot of them, and obviously he was relieved of duty or he retired right after that. And his second in command was very, very happy to come and lick boots for Governor Murphy. So there was a wide variety of guys. The New Jersey State Police, to their credit, refused the order to come in. So we've had a tremendous amount of respect for what they did. And, it was hard being in that position, being, somebody who, wants to be supportive of police, but when the police are the apparatus that is carrying out these unjust treatments, it's very hard to not feel some animosity. But yeah, there's a mixture. There's guys that love to do this and, guys that didn't. And unfortunately, during COVID, we saw a lot of the good police officers and public officials forced out of their jobs. And they wound up getting replaced with not people who are looking to protect and serve, but are here to be rule enforcers, no matter how absurd.
Right. Yeah. So your good news is you've gone through this, it's been almost 4 years of a legal battle against all of these unconstitutional charges, and a municipal judge over there in New Jersey has just dropped the charges?
Yeah, so, like I said, those municipal charges, they didn't hold a whole lot of weight other than the fact that they were one of the fundamental parts of what the state based its punitive case on us up in the higher courts. So, they were largely ignored by the state and by the township that wrote them. And, a year went by and 2 years went by and then 3, and, we were rounding the bases to 4 here. And we've continuously tried to get this moving because we knew that it was important. We knew that if we could take one of the legs out, that we could probably topple this whole thing. So we kept sort of just asking for discovery. And, eventually the judge upheld the law. She gave the state and the township more than enough time to produce something. And neither one of those, not the state nor the town, produced a single document in relation to the case, because we know that they were just writing these. They were firing off the hip. They didn't expect people to push back, and they just panicked. And these people are not used to people wagging a finger in their face and saying no. So they never wanted to touch these cases because nobody wants to put their name on it because they know it's unconstitutional. And after 4 years, the judge finally had enough. She said, I can't put these gentlemen through this any longer. And, she was very clear that this was going to be dismissed with prejudice, meaning that the state can't revisit these charges. And she looked at all of them. We had about 40 apiece, somewhere over 80. And she read them off one by one and dismissed them all based on the violation of a right to a speedy trial. And then there was a separate basis for a couple of other tickets we were fined for operating without a mercantile license. And she found that the township had no authority to issue, to take away, or to punish for mercantile licenses because in New Jersey, you're licensed through the state as a health club.
So this is great. It's good news, and I'm very happy for you. But I want to ask you, and I don't want to bring it down, but are you just out? How much money are you out, and do you get to recoup those costs? Because I'm sure that it was not cheap to have a lawyer defend you for nearly 4 years.
No, it certainly wasn't. And, to the credit of all of the amazing people who supported the gym throughout this, we could not have gotten this far if it were not for the generosity, not only financially, but just people's time and energy and emotion. Our friends and allies in the mainstream media, our small broadcasters who gave us a voice over and over again, and the people who were just there for us, that came to the gym, that bought T-shirts, that donated. But yes, it was extremely expensive, all combined between the two of us, both out of cost or out of pocket and donations and money that we were able to raise from T-shirts. This ordeal has cost us well over $750,000, if not closer to it. And that's not including just operating costs or anything like that. That's legal bills and things that we had to do to go above and beyond. So, the good part about this, this dismissal is that it doesn't make it all go away yet. All of these looming threats are still kind of there. I don't see the state really being aggressive moving forward because, they've slowed down dramatically over the past 2 years. And, once we got our business licenses back, I think they kind of hoped that we would just let it go. But now that this this crucial piece is missing, we have an opportunity to go back and say, hey, let's look at this court order, that was based on these charges that are proven to be invalid. And that opens up the discussion. We'll have to chat with our attorneys, and everybody's got to decide what they want to do. But it does certainly open up the possibility of moving forward and first undoing the damage, but then making it right as well. And in the end, ultimately some justice for the people who grossly abuse their power in New Jersey.
Yeah, amen to that. Well, Ian, not that my vote matters at all, but I vote for the option that makes you whole again, because I think it's absolute BS that you were forced to defend yourself against clearly the entire time, clearly unconstitutional government, big tyranny orders. So I'm very happy for you. This was a win. So we're going to count our W's where we can. I appreciate you joining us. And I do have to say, I'm giving your beard a 10 out of 10. It's like the best beard ever.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Ian. See ya. Okay. All right. So I love beards. Okay. Sue me, I guess. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you do. Click here.